Guys, I'm back from our match last weekend, and this is our after action report. Now, I'm gonna string sort of all the stages together in a separate video for us that I'll just upload with no commentary or anything like that if you just want to watch the shooting bit. But I think there's such good lessons when you go to a match like this, because it's so much shooting condensed into such a small space that we can actually learn quite a bit from it. And I've wanted to make this video for you a little bit earlier, but the reality is I was man down when I got back. So just before, sort of the week before heading out, I relaunched my website. We're doing international shipping now. So for those of you that have asked to get stuff from us, you can now shop internationally. In fact, we've just finished sending a whole bunch of stuff with FedEx all over the world. It's super exciting, and that goes a long way to helping support the YouTube effort. If you guys can support our store, impactproshop.net, the links and all the things are going to be down below. So we flew up. Got up really early, 4 o'clock on Friday morning, caught a flight, everything fine with the rifles and things flying up. Fly Sapphire if you want to know how to travel with a firearm in South Africa. It's relatively easy. So we get there, we zero our rifles on the Friday night. Not the best zero range I've ever had, but you know, some twigs and grass and things in the way. But we got a nice zero, got to bed relatively early, and I slept until about 12:30, you know. Then I was awake. Despite the fact that there was this cockatoo or something in a cage next to our room. It was quite funny because when we got there, he was, you know, very loud, and I was going like, oh, how am I going to sleep with this? He eventually went to sleep and I didn't. But close to where his cage is, all the sort of Land Cruiser hunting trucks, buckies are there. And obviously they've got walkie-talkies in them. And this thing was going, Loki, come on. And he was having like a conversation with himself, like a walkie-talkie. It was hilarious. I sadly didn't get any video of that, but it was quite funny. So Saturday morning rolled around. I was super focused. Now my goal heading into this match was to get a match win, okay? Because I've got 2 other wins from earlier this season. I wanted to grab another one because that puts me in the best possible score going into our sort of championship match, which whenever that will be, with 300% scores. So Saturday morning started off. The course of fire was awesome. None of the stages were super difficult. The distances weren't crazy. The target sizes weren't small. Some of them were small, but it's not unhittable. Every stage was like, you could clean every stage. It can be done, but obviously we just don't because we suck. Anyway, so my first shot of the day, the target sort of on a hill, and after the target, the hill sort of falls away before it goes up to sort of the next bit. And if you missed that first one, and we saw that with all the guys going before me, you had no idea where that bullet was because there's no ground or something splashing up behind it. So luckily, with the Raptor on, my rifle recoiled nice and straight, and I was able to see my vapor trail. The conditions were also really good for spotting trace that morning. If you don't know what trace is, next time somebody's shooting, stand right behind them with a pair of binoculars and look at the target, and you'll see sort of that bullet running towards the target. And I was able to see the trace fly by the right hand side of the target, make the correction, put 3 more on, move to the next position, and then I was engaging at about 1,000 yards, I think it was, 1,006 yards, put another 4 rounds on target. And that was kind of how my morning went. Missed the first one, then cleaned every single stage after that. Boom, 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 boom. And I think I was 6 stages in and I dropped 1 round. Then I shot the wrong target on one of the stages. Even though I hit it successfully because they were at the same distance. I shot it out of sequence. So that counts as a miss. So I was 2 down with 2 stages left. Okay. The last stage had sort of a long range thing, and it took me 2 rounds to get my one call right, and I hit 2 on there, so I dropped 2 there. And then the very last stage of the match, I had a little bit of a bag issue. I put my rifle down and it put pressure on my bag. And when I went to close my bolt, I had a little bit of a feeding issue, and then sort of rushed that next shot, so I dropped 1 there. Anyway, fast forward to prize giving. I end up tying for the win, okay? We have the same amount of points. We both dropped 5 shots for the day. And then I do win the tiebreaker based on time. But then later on, I find a few days after the shoot, I found out that I cleaned the time stage. So basically how the time stage works is the shooter who does the best in score will automatically win the tiebreaker. You know, if we both shot 8 out of 8 on the time stage, then it would go to time. But it turns out I cleaned it in 55 seconds, I believe, and the other guy got 5 out of 8 in 57 seconds. So even though I beat him on time, I also beat him on score. So that's important, and it is difficult to program into practice score. Now, where I made a little bit of a mental error is there was this kid who came with his dad to the shoot, and he was following me around like a little tail the whole day, talking to me, and it was a lot of fun. So after the one stage, when I'm loading my mag for the next stage, I only put 7 in, and I must have lost count somewhere. Luckily though, on this time stage, worst stage for it to possibly happen, as I closed my bolt, I could immediately feel the difference in the friction required to close the bolt, okay, that there was no round being chambered. Now, I can even tell sometimes when I'm watching other people shooting, when they close their bolt, I can hear that there's no round going into that chamber. And immediately I was able to open it up, grab one from my 2-round holder. Those MDT multi-caliber 2-round holders are slick. We have them on the store too. I think we're the only people who have them in South Africa. Check them out down below. Pop one in, close the bolt, boom, and I put a round on this deal. So I won day 1, which was really cool. The bad thing about that is now all the pressure was off from me on day 2. You know, I kind of, I mission accomplished at that point in time. So I kind of went into day 2 a little bit laxy-daisy, if you can put it that way. Day starts off shooting targets in a car. You know, the first 2 targets are directly where the wheels are. So when you're missing them, you don't see any splash again. And I end up getting a 2 out of 8. So immediately I dropped 6 rounds on the very first stage of the match. I'm more rounds down after 1 stage than I was on 8 stages the day before. So I go like, okay, Pete, focus, laser focus now. Next stage, clean it. Great, back in the game. All I got to do now is clean every single stage for the rest of the day, and then I maybe have still a chance at the win. It wasn't meant to be. The next stage was a long-range stage, and the conditions were very different to day 1. Couldn't see much trace, couldn't see any splash at 1,000 yards again, and I basically put 8 rounds into the dirt, and I egg a stage, which was disappointing. And now I'm 14 rounds down after 3 stages, which was what it is. Luckily, I'd done well the day before, and it was kind of not a wasted weekend. So we move over back onto stage 1. I clean that stage, and then a friend of mine goes up and shoots the stage a few shooters after me, and somehow when we were spotting and ranging and things, he'd gotten his distance wrong, and he was not hitting steel. And sort of midway through his stage, he goes, can somebody confirm the distance is 432? And I say, no, it's 342. See the problem. So somewhere there was a miscommunication, and I kind of instinctively just gave him the distance. You know, we're used to helping a shooter if he's struggling. That's kind of why we started the NRL here. Anyway, it is a new rule, and I was wrong. So on the next stage, while sort of waiting for that stage, the match director comes over and says, how's it? Sorry to tell you, but you've been DQ'd from the previous stage. So now I've lost count of how many points I'm down for the day. And I go like, okay, well, there's 4 stages left. I'm just going to shoot all 4 of these stages left-handed. And that's what I did. And it was quite fun. I still did relatively well, cleaned a couple of them. I'll have the video, as I said, I'll do like a longer version of the video with all the stages later on YouTube. I must say, shooting left-handed though, it's really difficult to find your target. It was much easier to get on target. So a couple of the times I was sort of running short on time, and I just sort of switched to right-handed to squeeze off the last 2 rounds. But all in, it was a super fun shoot. The stages were a lot of fun. The squad was a lot of fun. Some noteworthy mentions. One of our POI members, George, was his first match ever. Now, George had done my online training. If you use the coupon code here, you can get a good discount on my online training. Everything's online. Some people have asked, is it DVDs? No, it's online. You can watch them all, rewatch them later. George had done the training, and he freaking cleaned up in the rookie class at his first match ever. Cleaning stages at his first match ever. That says a lot. So George, you're very talented. Well done, my friend. Another noteworthy mention is Skulk. You guys would have seen Skulk in some of the videos. You know, Skulk, and I hope you don't mind me sharing the Skulk, but I think it's such a good lesson. He said to me that after day 1 that he's kind of always happy with, like, if he's a top 10 shooter, then yeah, it's all good. So he kind of gives himself that leeway of missing the odd round here and there, like rushing a shot. And on the second day when we were driving to the shoot, Skulk said, I'm going to try win today. And he ended up getting 2nd, okay, for the day, which was unbelievable. So yeah, kudos, mate. I'm super stoked. It shows you how powerful it is when we actually focus. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the lessons. As I said, I will share all the stages with you in a later video. But for now, this is it. I have to get my hunting rifle ready because we're going hunting later this week. And that will be an upcoming video for you. My boot's coming with. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll see you in those. Cheers. Bye.